All right, we are live. What's up, y'all? So we are here on YouTube for our weekly live stream. Usually, what night I've been doing these? Probably Wednesday nights. So we got a Thursday night. We're mixing it up out here. You know what I mean? I'm flat out exhausted. So if you're watching this on the replay and you're hearing me say that, just know that I was really pushing through to do tonight's live stream. So if you do jump into the chat live, I would love it if you could leave a like on this video, as it's going to get it pushed out to more people, and hopefully more people means more questions. More questions, more answers. I made my last bet November the 12th of 2022, and tonight I'm here to answer any questions that you have about gambling, gambling addiction, and addiction recovery. I'm going to do a mix of looking at the camera and trying to read the questions that come in. Matt Theologian, what's up, my friend? Thank you for tuning in. I was going to say joining in, but we can say that too. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate you being here. And if any of y'all have questions about gambling addiction, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Also, YouTube has pushed out a new feature where this is supposed to show up in like vertical streams as well as horizontal streams. So if I look goofy, please let me know. Regarding question 15 of GA's 20 questions, talk about the role escapism can play in gambling addiction. Yeah, so the two common like stereotypes is that people could be gambling for escape reasons or action reasons. So in the idea of what escape would be, it's like when you have these negative thoughts, when you have a negative day, when you're stressed or bored or lonely or anxious or tired, your main coping mechanism becomes gambling because it presents an escape, a temporary relief from whatever that emotion was that you've been trying to avoid. So it can lead people to having it become their main coping mechanism. And when your main coping mechanism is something that causes more problems, you end up with a lot more problems in the end. So it's kind of the self-fulfilling cycle of like you're gambling to escape, but are escaping the emotions that gambling has caused you. So you're kind of just going over and over again. And yeah, the insanity only really stops when we stop gambling. What's up, Patricia? Thanks for being here. You're 1 week no gambling, but it's mental torture. Yeah, it can be tough to leave it behind. But it's okay to be thinking about gambling. I mean, like the reality is you're trying to quit something that you really like to do, or else you wouldn't have gotten addicted to it, right? But instead of thinking like, oh my God, I want to gamble so bad. Oh my God, I'm missing out. Just think about what happens if you do go and gamble. Like you could go and you could win, but then are you gonna stop? Eventually you're going to lose whatever you want. You're going to lose everything again. And so it's eventually going to become a problem again. You're looking at a temporary enjoyment for a long term negative. You got to remember what happens after that first bet. You don't stop. Am I suffering from any other addictions besides gambling? No, I'm not. When I quit gambling, I found myself starting to drink more, but I don't think that it was the same emotional pull as the gambling was for me. And right now, I'm not drinking either. So I didn't develop another addiction. But if you're not finding something to fill your time with that means something to you, it becomes really easy to substitute in another addiction because you're like, man, I have so much time. What do I do? I'm not used to thinking like any of these thoughts. I'm not used to feeling any of these things. Like, I need to escape this. And it goes back to that idea of escapism. Let's see. Thanks for being here, Jim. I appreciate you, my friend. You never reach out, but proud of me. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Lewis is a good dude. We are working on a couple of projects together on the side. But yes, as Patricia said, please hit the like button. When I go live on this horizontal format, I don't know where it always ends up going, right? So there's only so much that's within our control here on YouTube. But that's why all YouTubers are always like, hey, like it, and hey, subscribe to the channel. Because when you do that, it sends these technical indicators to other people that are watching the video. It's not because we need big number to look bigger to feel happier. It's that if we want more people to understand the content, if we want more eyes on it, and in this case, we want more people that might be struggling with gambling to see the content, we have to ask you for these technical indicators because it gets in front of them. It helps. It's like the number one free way to amplify the reach of the channel. So that's why we're always yapping about it and always talking about it. So appreciate you. And then tonight, we are not sponsored. This is not a paid sponsored video. But if you want to check out Open Recovery, I always tell them I'll give them a little shout out during these live streams. I linked them in the description. They have an AI on one side of the app, and then on the other side, it's like a communities feature, similar to like a Reddit, but it's for people who are struggling with addictions. And there's one there for gambling addictions myself. Let's see. You don't need to donate anything, my friend. I'm happy enough just being here. When you engage with the content, that's worth everything that I need, really. Like there's I don't know where I was necessarily going with that, but you don't need to send any money or donations at all, my friend. I appreciate the thought, though. Number one way to support is just by being here, sharing the video if you see anyone or think of anyone that could use it. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions that you have about gambling addiction. It doesn't seem like YouTube is pushing it out on the verticals feature. So we're definitely seeing a different audience or lack thereof thus far. But we'll stay alive and we'll see what happens. It's not always within our control what happens. Similar to gambling addiction, right? If we're if we're just I'm drawing a wild analogy here to yap. But if we are constantly trying to succeed in life based on the result of random events that contain odds that we're not supposed to win, you eventually lose. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's see. Stranger says, have I ever thought about making an FAQ of the questions you are most frequently asked on these AMAs? Yes, I've done so quite a few times on the channel. I like to spread them out where like each individual video is covering a question because not a ton of people search for the top most asked questions about gambling addiction, though I understand the sentiment, right? Like if someone's really struggling, maybe that's a video they'll click on. People are always more likely to click on a video that answers like the exact question that they have. And so what I do is I take the questions that I get during these Ask Me Anythings, these live Q&As, and I use them to inform what videos I do make. And I've tried to at least once a week, and this month, like almost every day, put out a video that's really directly answering a question you might have as someone struggling with a gambling addiction. See, you feel like gambling's taken my energy. Uh, Mine or yours? I mean, mine is because I woke up at 8 today because my HVAC was broken, and a guy came and fixed it. So I've been up for a while, grinding all day. Have I written a book in this? No. No, I haven't. I make a lot of YouTube videos. So I always found that, not always, like always is a strong word. Since entered recovery, I started to make videos about my gambling, and I found them to be the most effective means of communicating. I think a book would be cool. I wouldn't I don't want to say like never because I have read books from people who are in recovery, but I'm much more inclined to watch a video than I am to read a book, to be honest. Maybe that's my brain working the way that it works. Extreme gambling advertisements, the worst ones that I've seen, like by far, like in general, there's too many gambling ads. But the worst ones that I've seen have been the rain bet ads. Have you guys seen those? They're brutal. Um, just so awful. They're like giving homeless people like shots of like shooters of alcohol, and then they're trying to recoup the money by doing like a blackjack hand. It's like the worst kind of video ever. I'm gonna make a reaction video to those actually because they're just so horrible. If you're chasing after the same high that gambling gave you, you're just going to end up addicted to something else. You have to learn to live life without that insane level of dopamine and thrill. It's not natural. And it also means that you don't have to live with the crash that inevitably comes after it. But if you're trying to replace it, you will just get addicted to it. What's with recovery on my wall? Well, I do recovery stuff. So it makes total sense. Um, let's see. What problems did gambling cause that I didn't expect? I think that when people think about a gambling addiction, they're thinking about like, hold on, can I put this on screen? No, I can't. When people think about a gambling addiction, they think it's a money problem. So I expected like the financial problems that came with it. But what I found with my gambling was like it took away my interest in everything else. And I think that was a big thing for me. It was like I always tried to do so many things with my time. Um, like I played different sports, I played instruments, I saw my friends all the time. Like I tried to stay busy. I like to travel, I like to do all these things. But when gambling had really taken hold, I didn't care about any of those things anymore. So the way that it kind of overwhelmed everything else, it was a bit surprising, I think. But now in retrospect, it's not surprising. I know that it's just because your brain becomes hardwired to crave that dopamine that you get from gambling and everything else just feels meh. Let's see. Do I think there needs to be more education about the brain and compulsiveness in general as part of gambling recovery? I mean, I don't see what the harm would be. I don't think that everyone's going to respond well to learning about brain science, to be fair. I think that it's going to bore a lot of people. But a general understanding of like this thing makes me feel this way could be helpful in like kind of breaking through some myths and false beliefs that people might have. Second part of that question was, do I think ADHD and coexisting mental health issues need to be addressed? I mean, of course, like, yeah, but you can't do everything all at once. So you really need to focus on what is causing you the most pain and try to fix that problem first, or work towards, recovery first if it's the gambling. Yeah, those gambling ads are totally crazy. The rainbow ones, they're just absolutely nuts. What software do I use for my videos? When I edit them myself, I edit on iMovie, but my editor uses Premiere Pro. Where did I learn all this? Just years of making content about it, to be honest. And a lot of people that I've interviewed and worked with in the last 3 years have been the doctors and the people in the field that have been doing the research. So it's really just a reflection of making it my topic of focus for 3 years. I don't claim to know everything, and I don't claim to understand, especially all the brain science stuff. But I have learned a good bit about what it was that was making me tick when I was hooked to gambling, and it seems that people share my experience. When I was young, I thought America didn't exist and we're European actors. That sounds like a plot of a movie. A word I stumbled upon was casinoization, meaning the process of turning something into a casino or introducing elements akin to casino gambling. Why am I reminded of social media? I've heard gamification. I think it's kind of implying the same thing. But yeah, it's like the groups that make really widely used technology, social media apps, like basically any popular app. It doesn't just have to be social media. They're using the same kinds of psychological tricks and designs, that Silicon Valley type app, right? And those designs are there to keep you on platform for as long as possible. And gambling companies are using the same tactics, right? They want to keep you playing as long as possible, where TikTok wants to keep you scrolling and YouTube wants to keep you searching. It's the same kind of idea. How can I get my users to stay on this platform for as long as humanly possible? Gym shit, no offense, my friend, at all. No offense taken. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes during my gambling addiction. I spent 6 years gambling like every single day for like 10 hours a day. I know exactly what it means to to make some mistakes as a result of the addiction, but it's important to recognize the types of manipulation that fuel the fire that the casinos imply, and it's also important to recognize what you're doing yourself. They need to take responsibility for and move forward, accountability. Um, and so I am just here to share my story and answer questions that you guys got. So leave a like on the video if you like what we're talking about so far. It'll get it pushed out to more people here on the platform. If someone invited me to a casino, would I go with them? It would be really, really surprising to me if someone invited me to the casino. I'm literally like known as the guy that just hates the casino industry. Um, but no, I wouldn't go because what am I going to gain out of it? A whole lot of nothing. I could tell you that. Gamification has a Wiktionary. Wiktionary. I like that. Yeah, that's kind of the word that a lot of people are defaulting to now. Inferno's from Australia, and they have gambling websites with certain color themes, which you always felt you lost more money on and was compulsive. Yeah, I mean, the color schemes, I don't claim to fully understand it, but I'm sure there's a lot of green and blue involved in that. It's different kinds of mental cues that can keep you going. But at the end of the day, I mean, the product's just addictive, right? We that get hooked to gambling, we really like gambling, and that's why we get hooked to it. But there's things that can make it a little bit easier or more appealing to us. Let's see. On day 40, congratulations, my friend. The past 4 days have been tough. Feels like an itch in your brain that you can't itch. Thanks for what I'm doing. Well, thanks for watching. Sorry to hear that you're going through a tough couple of days. I mean, just play it out, right? You're experiencing an urge to gamble. Why? Well, if you can figure out why, you can address it. Let's say you can figure out why, right? Like, are you bored? Are you holding on to too much money? Are you not working as many hours? Are you working too many hours? Are you angry? Are you feeling like you're stuck in a routine? Like, what is it that's making that itch pop up? Because then we can address it. But realistically, gambling urges are just momentary blips, and we have to play it through in our heads. If you go back to gambling, maybe you feel good for a couple of seconds, but then what happens? Nothing particularly good. You stop for a few days and then you start. What do you try to do when you stop? Make a list of everything that you've done to try to stop gambling and put it in the chat. 4 months clean, not only 4 months clean, you are 4 months clean. Keep it going. I was hooked for 6 years to gambling. I spent 6 years gambling like each and every day. Gambling is a net negative. Oh, thank you, Lil. No need to send money at all, guys, but I really appreciate the gift. Thank you so much, my friend. The number one way that you can support is just by being here, just by asking the questions that you want answered and engaging with the content when it comes up. I really appreciate it, but by no means does anyone need to send anything at all. Just here to share my story, answer questions, and hopefully it reaches the right audience. If you're addicted to anything, it's soda. I mean, dude, you can be addicted to soda for sure. I hope that some of the things that we talk about tonight and elsewhere on the channel can be helpful. Like there's this woman that I'm friends with that I've interviewed a bunch of times for the channel. Her name's Christina. And the moment that she realized that she was hooked to gambling, she was watching a documentary about overeating, binge eating, like compulsively, and she saw the same patterns that she was doing in the person's eating. And so it absolutely can be anything that you're hooked to, but you can also learn from any kind of addiction recovery. The day you stopped gambling and drinking was the best of your life. Congratulations, my friend. Yeah, good things in life happen in those like those little streaks, you know. But I'm happy to hear that, my friend. That's awesome. If you want to get off the vicious cycle, you're in the right spot. There's 4 things that I focused on to stop gambling, and in the description of this video, there's actually a link to a 1 hour. I know it's a little bit long video about how I quit gambling and stayed clean for the last 3 years. But the 4 things are finding alternatives for your time that mean something to you, limiting access to money that's tempting you to gamble, going to support group meetings like Gamblers Anonymous, maybe, and self-excluding from the casinos to make it more difficult, adding roadblocks in place. Does YouTube pay me well? I mean, it's not a really a lucrative field. I mean, to make videos about not gambling, right? Like I'm not selling you guys anything, but there's ad revenue for sure when people watch the videos. But like I'm not selling you guys a product, so it's a little bit different. How do you limit your access to money? I'm actually, interestingly, I'm talking to someone about this. Someone created a platform that I think might be useful for it, but I'm still working through the process of it. Essentially, what I did was I had my mom manage my bank account. I only carried cash, and it was the amount that I needed for my weekly expenses, and then the rest was under the management of my mom. And I did that as a 24-year-old adult. Didn't feel great, but it made a huge difference because every time I was tempted to gamble, I did most of my gambling online. I couldn't access the money, so I couldn't do it. Cutting up the card, I mean, if you're having someone manage the account, not having the card on you is probably a good thing. Yeah, but these are just recommendations, remember. It's my own story. Ronnie, you pay off your debt tomorrow. Congratulations, dude. That's dope. Payday and then you're gonna pay it off. That's so sick. Congratulations. It really is a nice feeling when you start to make that progress. And when you get to the end of that tunnel, it's like, damn, like a whole new world ahead. So now you can start putting that payment that you were giving them into, a 401k, or you can start saving it in a savings account. It's gonna feel good when 6 months from now you're in a fantastic place. Life gets better when you stop wasting your life and your money. Not all apps block credit cards. That's not a good route. Uh, have I interviewed anyone suffering from OCD and gambling addiction? Probably, to be honest. But no, it's not been an area like a topic of focus. So we've had a couple people who were neurodivergent. I believe it was like autism spectrum. There could have been OCD within some of the conversations that we've had, but it's never been something that I've like followed up on and asked questions about. So I can do my best to one, find someone that maybe exhibits that sign, or two, make a video about it in general. I think it's a realistically a good video to make because there's people out there that have OCD and struggle with gambling. So we'll do the kind of like the co-occurrence of these two things. I think that could be an entire set of videos. Mm, a 20-year-old crypto nerd gets your money. It's one way to think about it. Like think about who's getting your money, and then maybe that like keeps you away from it. I don't know. Let's see. Have I heard of any successful lawsuits against online casinos taking advantage of compulsive gamblers? Yes, Joe. One of my friends, Matthew Litt, he's actually helped me with a couple of things in terms of like legal stuff. He represents clients who are suing casinos for deceptive practices and oftentimes like taking advantage of the of his client. And so like one example is this man Sam Antar, who was essentially suing BetMGM because he was being investigated for a financial crime related to his gambling, which he ended up serving time in prison for. But when MGM knew he was getting investigated, they kept prompting him with free plays. He ended up losing that case, believe it or not. Like the case was like MGM knew I was going to jail for financial crime and they kept giving me credit and they somehow didn't win that case, which is crazy. But Matt's won a couple of other cases in that casino VIP scheme world. Matthew Litt is his name, Litt. He's a good dude. He actually, I just recently interviewed him. So if you want to watch his interview, it's on the channel. Let's see. Yeah, watch the video with Lewis too. That was a good one. I appreciate you plugging that. Let's see. Ronnie says, haven't gambled since July this year, but I do keep watching videos of streamers gambling. How do I think it is best to stop watching that? I mean, dude, if you find yourself watching those videos, let me tell you why it's not a good thing first, before I tell you what I would do. The reason that it's not a good thing is because, like, you're probably thinking, well, at least I'm not the one gambling, right? It's just them. I'm just watching it. It's not me. The problem is that your brain is feeling like you are gambling a little bit. And so because I legitimately asked my friend about this, who's a doctor, and I was like, dude, like, is this okay? Because it feels like a better alternative. And he's like, no, 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 no. You're not giving your brain the chance to heal. When we quit gambling, your brain rewires itself. And as it's rewiring itself, it's fixing its dopamine balance, it's fixing its reward system. But if you're watching these videos, it keeps frying your brain. And so it's keeping you hooked to this idea of risk reward. And it's not giving you the proper space to heal. So if I was you, what I would do is unsubscribe from all those accounts. If some platforms, I don't know if YouTube does it, some platforms let you like cook your algo. Like you can reset your algorithm once and like just rebuild your viewer profile and just like start subscribing to like other things. Like I watch Pokemon videos every night. So my algo would need to get hard reset if I was to stop watching Pokemon videos. But just keep that in mind next time that you're watching one. It's like, this is not the good thing that we have it as in our heads. And I know because I was doing it too. Let's see. Other than, oh, I know you don't want to talk bad, but Bretsky and Bluff contributed badly to worse behaviors. Their sweepstakes casinos should be shut down. Totally. I don't think it's a good thing at all. I don't mind talking ill at all. Bretsky had reached out to me one time thinking about trying to put a video together, and I was giving it some great thought, and I would think I would still do it. The video was basically for me to go and debate him on whether or not what he was doing is okay. Happy to do that anytime. I don't think it's a good thing at all. Other than playing Pokemon and gambling games, what's my favorite game to play? I guess Mario Kart probably. That'd be in that same kind of category. I never got into like PlayStation or Xbox. I was always like a Nintendo guy, so like the Wii and now the Switch. So most of the games that I played growing up were on those platforms. So I played like Wii Sports and like FIFA and stuff like that, all on like the Wii. Let's see. Uh, I'm not sure how many Australians that you've spoken with, but the compliance check that they do is ridiculous here. They'll continue to give you deposit offers when you're exhibiting compulsive losses. Yeah, I've found generally that any kind of thing that's been implemented to help gambling addicts is just kind of bullshit. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's just kind of like, yeah, oh, look, we're helping them. We're doing everything that we can. Like responsible gambling, don't even get me started. Okay. Quit for 12 months and they offered you a 50% deposit of 6,000 straight away when you came back. Yeah, they get you rehooked. There's a whole like giant category. What's the right word? Not category. Department would be a better word in every casino that's like reactivation of high value customers. And all they care about is extracting as much value from you as possible. They'll do it by any means necessary. In the years after that, you got rock bottom into debt and it only got worse. I know that feeling. Hopefully, life's getting better from that point, my friend. Hopefully, it's getting better now. I feel like you work for the casino and trying to reverse psychology on us. I saw you got sponsored to by the lobby. Who's the lobby? And why would I not just tell you to gamble if I was working for the casino? I've seen some crazy shit. That's pretty crazy. Okay. Your algo's cooked outside of YouTube, your Snapchat ads are on online casinos. Anyone knows how to reset the DNA of the phone? I have no idea. It would be great if you could, right? Just nuke it once and then just like go back and start again and just look up like how to be a good person, and that would be all your recommended ads. But I have no clue. The viewer profiles or the user profiles that like internet companies have on us are insane. It's just insane. In 6 months, you'll be like, "I'm so glad I don't watch those videos and I watch dog videos now." Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about the Pokemon videos, man. I'm like, I just can't believe I just watched this video about a guy playing 20 games of Pokemon Ruby at once, but it's better than watching some guy play poker, I guess, right? You know what I mean? In Ontario, the government doesn't have a centralized self-exclusion database. They do so for physical casinos, but not online. Okay. Yeah, it's probably just because the casinos found some loophole in the law and they're able to operate through that. A lot that's just exactly what this group of humans do. Mhm, mhm. Using prepaid Visa cards for everyday spending helps you. That's exactly what I did with the cash, right? Like if it's Visa cards, if it's cash, like something that's not your fuel, your ammo. Most of my gambling was online, so my ammo was having money in my bank account or a crypto account. So having cash was like I wasn't going to gamble the cash, especially at the amounts that I was carrying around. It just wasn't working. Gambling influencers are growing too fast. Addiction is going to get out of hand. It's because the content is naturally very engaging, right? Like when you think about YouTube videos, you think of like Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast style videos are like every gambling video. And it's one of the more frustrating things when I make content knowing that like I'm only going to get a fraction of the traction of these people. And it's going to take me a longer period of time to grow because hopefully the content is accomplishing good things when I put it out. But it is frustrating to see it. But it's just that entertainment value, right? It has a high retention. People like to see the end outcome, right? So they delay, you know, if they get a big hit, it's later on in the video. You're watching like, oh my God, what's the video title gonna match in this video? Like it keeps you hooked. And that's why they always perform so well. Let's see. It's been a month for you and it's getting better for sure. It's not sunshines and rainbows. It's brutal. I like to say it's not like unicorns and like rainbow shit and rainbow gumdrops. Or I don't remember. Let's say something like that. But yeah, no, not every day is a good day. That's just facts. The thing about recovery is every day is a chance to actually experience the day. Whereas when you were gambling, you were numbing yourself. You were never feeling anything. So you were having those good days and those bad days, but you didn't feel like anything. Every day was just a beige day. And now in recovery, you have to actually feel it. So that's life. What do you think about these new prediction markets and the inability to self exclude? I think they're going to get regulated the same as gambling pretty soon. They're just once again taking advantage of a loophole. Um, but the reality is, I think it's going to do a lot of damage. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a good thing at all, to be honest. Oh my God, my friend, you don't have to send me anything. Thank you so much for that gift. That's very very generous. I really appreciate it. But you did not need to do that. Thank you. Just yeah, that's really kind. I'm buffering. I'm cutting out. Can you guys hear me okay? Please, if you can hear me okay, drop something in the chat that says you're good. And if not, then I'm going to talk for a couple more seconds and then start to panic. That'll be great. It is like being on hard drugs. Yes, absolutely. Okay, you can hear me fine. Appreciate you, stranger. And Marco, thank you guys. And Little, you're just goaded for that gift. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's see. If you guys have questions about gambling, gambling addiction, and addiction recovery, let me know in the chat. It's a bit of a slower night because we're going live on horizontal. My impression was that it was going to push it out. YouTube's just got this update where they're supposed to crop me here and they're going to push it out on shorts, but clearly they didn't do it for tonight. But that's okay. I stopped cold turkey. You can't taper off a gambling addiction. It's not that kind of addiction. For us, we can try to bet smaller, but it eventually spirals into the same situation over and over again. The next generation is going to be so much worse and the stats will never measure correctly. The stats will never measure correctly is really an important point. Like we have these reported rates of addiction between 1 and depends who you ask, but 1 and 5%. But they're self-reported numbers. And like if you're asked like, "Hey, do you have a gambling addiction?" and you do, you're not going to say yes to everyone that asks you that question, right? You might not even know that you have this addiction. You might just think like, I gamble a lot, but I could stop anytime. I spend a little bit too much, but it's okay. I can afford it. Like you have all these excuses, but you could be like clinically a gambling addict. And I think that's a big problem. I think that's why the numbers are so low. And additionally, the research is usually funded by the casinos, you know? You guys don't need to send me literally anything. Please, like, don't worry about it. It's literally okay. Number one thing that you can do if you haven't yet done so is consider hitting the subscribe button. But given the nature of this live stream, I'm pretty sure you guys are all subscribed. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this community. Let's see. I remember sometime back reacting to Togi destroying his laptop. Why do I think that kind of video goes viral? Because it's insane. It's just insane behavior. Why does the video of the guy punching a slot machine go viral? Why does the video of a guy winning $1 million go viral? It's because they're the extreme moments, right? Extreme moments create great content. But unfortunately, they also paint false narratives, right? So in Togi's situation, when he does something like break his laptop or go crazy, like people are like, yo, that's so funny. That's crazy. You see him crash out. But then he wins the next day and they're like, oh, look, he's fine. Like he overreacted kind of thing. The thing about online like influencer streamers is you're only seeing the highlight reel and the low light reel might be literally the comedy show. Uh, so that's why it goes viral. It's super engaging content. I mean, I can nerd out and talk about content retention. Like, why does this video go viral? It's because people watched more than 70% of it. Like, that's the basic answer. Um, let's see. I know you get this question a lot, but how do you feel now after quitting gambling? Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Not every day is a good day, but you can have a good day. Not every day is a bad day. But you now in recovery, once you stop gambling, you stop numbing and zoning out, like you have to experience life as life is, right? Some days are good, some days are bad. So depends on the day. I'm pretty tired right now because I woke up at 8 a.m. this morning, which I'm a YouTuber. I don't wake up at 8 a.m. That's really early for me. I wake up at like 10:30, and then I work until like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. But I was up early because my HVAC broke. So a guy came right on the dot. Really, really good guy. He came at 8, right on time. Uh, to fix the HVAC. So some days are good, some days are bad, but I'm just feeling, tired, sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Do I still watch sports or is it a trigger? I can still watch sports. It's just not that interesting all the time. I'll watch the fourth quarter of some games, like the last couple minutes of some games, but for the most part, it's like, taking the flavor out of your favorite dish and then saying, oh, do you still like it? Like I thought I was a big sports fan, but I was just a big gambling fan. Sam says 1 year clean. Really appreciate all the content. Thanks for being here, man. For someone interested in spreading awareness of gambling risks, what's the best place to start? Share your story online. Record yourself. If you go and you watch the first video that I ever made, warning, you might throw up because it's so bad. It's not good, right? But the reality is, like, if you want to make a good video, you probably need to make 100 bad ones first. And that's kind of what differentiates people who end up getting views on socials from people that don't is like you post a couple times and you expect it to do really well and go viral, but it doesn't because you're not good yet at making videos. But doing the reps, putting in the reps and making videos and getting better each time, eventually you find what works and then you just keep making that. So for me, it was the podcast, right? That's why there's 105 podcast episodes and 10 more recorded, ready to go live at a moment's notice. It's because that's the kind of content that started to resonate with people. So make a video and then make 99 more, and you'll figure out what you're supposed to do from there. It doesn't sound great, but it really does work. I'm live streaming during Thursday night football. See, I didn't even know. I I didn't even know it was supposed to be Wednesday, and I didn't have the time last night, so I just jumped on. But like that's how zoned out I am from sports. It's like I kind of forgot there was Thursday night football. I don't even know who's playing. Can't wait till you're back on your feet. Don't feel ashamed, my friend. If you made mistakes, you made mistakes. You had to learn that gambling wasn't for you. You had to learn that it was always going to end this way if you kept playing. But now that you're in recovery, now that you're working hard to get better every day, that shame's going to start to fade away with time. Oh, Ivy, thanks so much for the gift, my friend. No need to send. Guys, really, I'm not just saying that to be like, oh my God, you should send. Like, no, literally no need to send me anything. I promise you, it's okay. Just being here, having a conversation, engaging with the stream and asking questions is more than enough. But I appreciate you watching and I will keep up the work. Thank you, my friend. Inferno says, never thought I had a problem. It took tens of thousands of debt to realize. Yeah, a lot of people don't think like, oh, I'm winning money. This is a bad thing, right? It's kind of ridiculous to think that you would think that. It really takes some negatives before you start to think like, damn, this is a problem. But with online, people are experiencing those negatives faster than ever before. What kind of camera am I using? This is a Sony FX3. I got it when I filmed the documentary episodes that we launched back in July. Really happy with this camera. It is a really great camera. I'm just very thankful to be able to have it. 1:30 a.m. in the UK. Right now it is 8:37 for me in Eastern time. But yeah, I usually go live at night. However, I'm gonna do a TikTok live on Sunday. I think around 1. We're gonna shoot for 1 on Sunday, which would be 7 p.m. UK time. So if you're on TikTok, it's the same channel name over there. Let's see. I'm doing my best to keep up with the questions. We got a nice little flow of questions now. So if I missed your question, feel free to re-ask it, but I'm gonna do my best to get to it. Don't worry. Let's see. Was it with people giving me money? I don't know. No need to give me money, please. Uh, let's see. Last bet, June 7th. Congratulations, Bobby. That's awesome. And in Australia, you banned yourself from all online platforms of gambling, but can't block yourself from all in-person venues. What will make you stop? 4 things. 4 things will make you stop. And if you look in the description of this video, there's a video called How to Stop Gambling, How I Quit Gambling. Watch that one. It's going to dive into these 4 things deeper, but it's finding alternative things to do with your time, limiting access to money that's going to tempt you to gamble, self-excluding like you have for online, and then going to support group meetings. When you put those 4 things together, it makes a huge difference. The best part of the best part is the majority of gambling content creators suffer from the effects of addiction. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna spoil this one. So in January, I'm gonna release this podcast that I did with this guy who was a gambling streamer, got addicted and stopped streaming, but he's on the fence about going back to it. And it was a really interesting conversation, but it can show that like even people who are streaming gambling content can be struggling with addiction. It's just that their addiction is subsidized. So they're able to afford it while they're streamers because the casino's paying them to gamble, not because they're making money gambling. They're losing money, but the casinos are paying for it. I don't have any Christmas plans. I mean, I'm just gonna see my family, like the standard. Nothing really to tell you though. Can I put podcasts up on Spotify? It should be on Spotify, Ronnie. It should be called the ODAC Gambling Awareness Podcast on Spotify. I use this website called RSS, and it's like a podcast aggregator, and it's supposed to be on Spotify. So yes, it's on Spotify. Go check it out. Seahawks are playing. Oh, snooze fest. No, I'm just messing with you. I don't know. I don't know anything about them this year. I'm doing God's work. I'm just doing my work. I appreciate you. I hope that it can resonate with people, and I hope that people can find value in it. Have I ever gambled by accident since I stopped? No, I don't know how you would gamble by accident. It's like, like when I'm walking and I drop my phone, and like it's like, oh no, I placed a bet. Like I don't. How do you gamble by accident? I don't know. My gambling was very intentional. Let's see. Chat helped you tonight? I'm really happy to hear that, my friend. Keep pushing on. Yeah, I hope you have a good night too. Just stacking days, right? One day at a time. That's the name of the channel. Let's just keep it going. This year did fly by. Today specifically crawled though. I don't think I've been awake for this many hours in a day and since like high school. So this one crawled. But yeah, the year's starting to fly. I think I'm just getting old, man. I think that it's just starting to. Is this what happens when you get old? Like every day is just like a tiny blip in existence. It's just like that and it's done. F FNKS1. Love your video. Thank you, man. Thanks for watching them. As recovering gambling addict, do you ever make friendly wagers with friends like $5 or lunch, or would something like that trigger? Or would that trigger something? So I don't make those bets. There's just no point. The way that I was gambling, like if I was to do that, I would just feel nothing. It would just feel like a disappointment, like a waste. So no, it wouldn't trigger anything. It just would literally be like an absolute bore. Um, but what was I gonna say? For us, I use the definition of gambling as any betting or wagering for self or others, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill. And so that would fall into that category. It would be classified as gambling. Technically, I'd reset my bet date if I did it, but it really wouldn't do anything for me. How many meetings a week do I attend? It was one pretty religiously. And now that I'm living a bit further away from my home meeting, it's not really too often, to be honest. However, I meet with people online every day, so I'm not in a formal meeting setting, but I'm getting my dose of recovery every single day. Don't worry. It is quite a lot. But I'm very thankful for being able to do the stuff that I do. Would I consider bets that are not monetary, but the type like loser has to do X gambling? Listen, listen. By definition, yes. if you are doing like little prank jokes with your friends and you're enjoying it and you're not going home like itching to gamble, like who am I to tell you what to do, right? You do you and avoid the things that you know are bad for you. If that makes you want to gamble, don't do it. But is it going to ruin your life? I doubt it. Really, you got to know yourself. If you know yourself, you know what is gambling to you. And based on that, make the decisions that are going to lead to the best kind of life. And if you're gambling while watching this, it means you're in the right spot, bro. Like, we get all kinds of comments, especially when I'm live on TikTok and it's like a couple hundred people at once and they're flying in. It's all kinds of comments like, dude, you should gamble. I'm betting on this. This is my locks tonight. And I'm always just like, this is good. This is a good thing that you're here. Because I used to be like, "Oh, please, like, only talk about the gambling addiction stuff, only ask me good questions," but it means that it's reaching the audience that might eventually need the content. So, if you do reach the point that you wanna stop, literally in the description of this video, there is a video called "How to Stop Gambling," where I lay out everything that I did to stop gambling in, like, great detail. You can even put the transcript into ChatGPT if you want, like, you don't have to watch the full video if you don't feel like it, and try to get value out of it because I literally just run through, like, everything that I ever did to stop. By accident, like, game loot boxes, buy Pokemon cards. No, I actually haven't done any of that anyway, but now I understand more what your question was about the accidental gambling. I was like, "What do I get a trip and, like, my phone's gonna open FanDuel or something?" That'd be crazy. But, mandatory plug times, we're 40 minutes in here. So, tonight, this video is not monetarily sponsored, but I mentioned my friends over at Open Recovery in the description. They have an AI over there to help you stop gambling, as well as a communities forum, which is similar to, like, Reddit, but it's filled with people who are in recovery as well from all kinds of addictions, so check it out if you're interested. And then if you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps the channel to reach more people. More people means that it might be reaching someone that genuinely needs the content. That's why I'm always asking. I'm not a robot. Sorry that I have to keep asking you, but it helps genuinely. Now, you love biographies. They offer great insights on how people made their millions. None have ever said gambling. The great quote that someone said yesterday in a podcast recording was it was Steve Wynn's quote, and it said, "If you want to become a millionaire by gambling, you need to start off as a billionaire." I thought I thought that was pretty good. Being in GA for almost 9 years, I find that without one live meeting a week, it's that much harder to stay clean and stay in the moment. Just your opinion. I totally understand it. And I think there's a ton of value in it. I'm not even trying to make an excuse. Like, I would go to a live meeting. Like, there's no reason not to. The thing is, for me, I'm like so over, what's the right way? I wouldn't say burnt out, right? Burnt out's not the right way of saying it. But for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, my life is focused on not gambling and talking about the reasons that I don't gamble and talking to people who are thinking about leaving the earth because of their gambling and talking them off the ledge and sending them to resources. My life is basically one long meeting, to be fair. But I do, I mean, there's value in it for sure. I wouldn't stop going. Casinos don't gamble, they do math. Yeah, every single game in the casino, no matter if it's a sports bet or a roulette wheel, contains a house edge. And over the long run, the house can win more money than you. It is math. But we are playing a losing game by going and doing it. So if you have questions about gambling, gambling addiction, and addiction recovery, feel free to drop them in the chat. And I see a couple of you hit the like button when I did my mandatory plugs. So thank you. I appreciate you. You guys are the goats. But yeah, drop any questions that you got. Speaking of math, how numerate do you think most gambling addicts are? I think there used to be like a general perception that people with addictions were stupid, or like people with a gambling addiction, like, oh, dude, you're addicted to losing money. I find that people who work in financial services, doctors, lawyers, accountants, people who are really financially literate and good with numbers, get addicted to gambling. And you have to think like, why? Like they know the math. I interviewed a guy and his podcast is going to come up in a couple weeks too. He's a former accountant and financial advisor, and he got hooked to gambling. It's because the disease, the addiction doesn't care about logic. Logic gets tossed out the window, and you end up just constantly wanting to gamble, regardless of the logic behind it. I think that there's lots of financially literate and incredibly intelligent people that develop a gambling addiction. Yeah, but it can just impact anyone. Truth. What are my long-term goals with the community that I'm building? Sam, excellent question. So, yeah, I'll drop a little bit of a teaser here. I'm starting a foundation. The foundation is basically the gambling, it's going to be called the Gambling Truth Project. So I already bought the domains, so you can't go and steal them from me. I already got them. But the idea is to be like the truth campaign was for tobacco. And we're going to do advocacy. And I'm talking like pumping PSAs out on TV, social media. I want to start to rival the amount of gambling ads that you see with counter messaging. And I'm talking about trying to get a lot of investment into this from larger groups and larger organizations because I'm sick and tired of everyone thinking that gambling is normal. Dude, this is a dangerous and addictive product. Maybe not everyone gets addicted to it, but it's addictive. And we need to start treating it like that. So, my long term goal with this community is to blow this message up so big that we can impact policy change and change the way that people view gambling addiction in America and around the world. So, long story short, go big. That's what I'm trying to do. Let's see. It's basically meeting every day. Yes, it is. It feels like that. Absolutely. In your GA group, there is a lot of smart people, a lot of CEOs. Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of people that get hooked to gambling that are really high performers too. It's just like they can be using it as an escape. Where am I from in South Jersey? You're gonna dox me. I can't do it, but I'm from near Philly. That's awesome. Looking forward to seeing the project grow. I appreciate you, my friend. You're gonna be seeing me collab post with that account probably February-ish, but everything's already up and running. We just got to get to actually exist as a 501c3 before we can start to like really pump it. But yeah, we're gonna start making content about it like really soon. It could actually be within the next couple weeks. Oh, you're from Woodbury. I know about a meeting in Woodbury very, very well. Tuesday nights. You should go. Tell Rich and Harry I said hi. So, guys, if you have questions about gambling addiction, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if it's your first time seeing me, which maybe it is for Eros here, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Rob. I'm in recovery from a gambling addiction. I made my last bet November the 12th, 2022. I started making videos to share my story because I thought it would help me. And in the end, it has helped me, but it's also hopefully helped people out there that are feeling like they're the only people on earth with a gambling addiction. So every single day, I make content about my story, about the story of others who are willing to share. And I answer questions that people have about gambling addiction because you're not alone and you can get better. Recovery exists. Let's see, I was already financially ruined and couldn't take any more credit before gambling addiction, so you didn't lose much. Well, there's always the bright side, I guess. You're addicted for 5 years, now sober for a month, but you like watching the streamers. So we just talked about them a little while ago. It definitely doesn't help. It actually creates a pattern in your brain similar to continuing to gamble. Um, so it's not actually good. It doesn't allow your brain the space to heal. You need to stay away from all forms of gambling and everything about gambling to the best of your ability to take time to let your brain reset its dopamine levels. Sounds corny, and I know it might feel like a better option. It feels like, oh, they're doing it, I'm not doing it, but you're playing with fire, unfortunately. And I know it from my own experience. You gamble a little bit, but your family affected by it. Got you, my friend. Got you, my friend. Let's see. How's it legal for LeBron to be in a DraftKings ad as a current player? I don't know. It's just the way it is. Money, big money, many, many dollars. Many, many dollars. Snorlax is good. He is pretty good. He got me the other day. If you adopt a cat, it's just kind of inevitable that you're going to get some battle scars. But it was only because I made the mistake of reaching to grab my TV remote when it was next to him. So that's my bad. But he's good. He's a pretty cool guy. That's my cat that we're talking about. His name's Snorlax. He's a little bit fat. He likes to lay around. I like it. He's a good dude. Used to deliver pizza in Camden. Only 1 out of 3 people pay for their pizza. I delivered pizza. I never had like one time ever people tried not to pay. Maybe it's because I'm tough. Or I'm an intimidator, man. They were just scared they had to pay up. You love what you do, or you love what I do. Thank you so much, my friend. Oh, you love what I just said. Thanks so much, my friend. Gambling can kill you faster than tobacco. I mean, it can send you broke way faster. That's for sure. And then it can cause a lot of problems in life as a result. So I'd never like to say one addiction can be worse than another, but all addiction is addiction, and gambling addiction needs to be treated the same as the other ones. Yeah, your gambling only lasts till your ammo runs out, and then you start lying, manipulating, stealing, and cheating your way to more money so that you can keep gambling. It is a relentless cycle. But guys, I think I'm gonna be calling it there for the night. A little bit shorter tonight. We have a pretty good vibe out here. But I appreciate all the questions that came in, all the likes, all the comments, and of course, thank you for subscribing to this channel and being a part of this community. Um, Basically, I try to do a live stream once a week. I know that next Wednesday, I think, is Christmas Eve or Christmas. So I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be, but I'm going to try to post about it. which I keep forgetting to do here on the channel to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Maybe I'll even schedule out the video so it can be seen in the subscribe tab. But hopefully you'll join me again. We'll get some more questions. We're gonna go live in vertical next time so that we get a bigger audience, and hopefully we reach more people who are struggling. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for the comments. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and as always, let's keep getting better together, one day at a time. Good night, everybody. Peace.